A very good morning to you and welcome to Daybreak Africa on KAFTAN Television, brought to you from Ondo State. I believe you had a good night rest as I did. Maybe my co-host had too. My name is Glory Emmanuel.
And my name is Ikhonede Joshua Yodeji. And yes, welcome once again to Daybreak Africa. I did have a good night rest.
Good.
Welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, it's still Daybreak Africa. And yes, I know that you are ready for this because it's time to discuss. One of the things I'll let you know today is the fact that free food is over for many nations, as President Donald Trump has decided that the United States will be halting aid to many nations. And many of these nations are African nations who are going to be way more affected with this move. Many are already complaining of the fact that the US aid and some of their, extended hands towards the United Nations, the World Health Organization, is going to be stopping under this administration, which has began to affect even the aid sent towards HIV victims actually. But aside from that, there are other parts of their aids which is going to stop drastically, and it's going to affect as many nations as possible. But looking at solutions towards it, Akinwumi Adesina, who happens to be the president of the African Development Bank, was recently suggesting to African countries that rather than depend on foreign aids and the likes, which though are very good for developing nations, for growing economies, for infant nations, we should also look at what they call concessional financing in our pathway to development. And it's not just saying this. Aside from those things, we'll be looking at many other factors as regards these discussions and many other things as we discuss on. Our in-house analyst is in the studio with us, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Bimbo Ogungbe is here. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much.
Show, sir.
Thank you, Ogolua.
Ogolua, actually. Glory.
Glory of God.
Glory of God.
Yeah.
But now let's go straight to discussions, which I think is a very serious matter. Now, the first thing is that free food is now over for many African nations. What's your take on the fact that the United States are even stopping foreign aid for many nations as we speak?
In the first place, everything that has a beginning will surely have an end. So I think those nations that are affected or that will be affected, they should see it as an end to freebies. And I think what they need to do now is to get up on their feet and start working with that kind of focus as responsible leaders who has been given responsibility, either via the election or whichever way they get to their position as leaders. They should rise up and take the mantle of leadership and begin to understand that getting free things cannot continue forever. So that is the truth. And I feel that the whole world should leave the President of the United States. He is the President of the United States, and he has taken it upon himself to take the bull by the horn, to bring about what he believes is the needed changes that should be, injected into America. And there's nothing bad in you looking inward and you feel that all these holes where money is going to, and you're not getting anything in return, and you're using your money, your taxpayer money, your investment on some other countries, the other people, and you feel that you need to focus on your people. I don't think there's anything wrong in it. There's nothing wrong in it. So my take is that any country that is affected, whether it's food aids, medical aids, technological aids, advancement, whatever kind of aids that America feels that is no longer interested in giving to anybody, it is their sole right to give and to withhold. So every country that will be affected, they should rise up and start doing what is the best for their own country America did what is the best for their own country. So all the leaders in the world, they should rise up and do what is the best for their own people too. I don't see anything wrong about that.
So looking at the fact that there was no forewarning, and especially let's talk about Nigeria when it comes to the medical side, the HIV and all the rest, the funding that was removed. Do you think that most of African countries, especially Nigeria, can survive this, especially that there was no forewarning, they were so relaxed and like that was taken care of? For a very long time we've not heard of AIDS. It has always been HIV. How do you think this will like affect Nigerians?
I also want us to know that the grants, the aids from America, is not the same as the grants and aids from some certain foundations, like the Bill Gates and Melinda Foundation, and many others. I could remember very well, because of the way the fund from Bill Gates and Melinda Foundation is being handled, Bill Gates have to change the procedure. In the past, Bill Gates will release the money for them to go and use it. But when he started saying that they are not covering enough, they are not doing enough, he now said, all right, he changed the procedure. Go and do it first. I will pay for reimbursement. He did that during the time of former finance minister during the Buhari regime. That was Mrs. Adeosun.
Adeosun, yeah.
When
Kemi
Adeosun, Bill Gates had to visit Nigeria to see how far we had gone on that project, which is a health foundation, before he released the money. And he was even in Nigeria recently, not quite long, last year. Last year. So I believe that those kind of funds and aids, they are not from the American government. And those ones, based on the kind of human feelings the initiators and the founders of those foundations have, and the kind of their philanthropy projects, I believe that they will still continue. The only problem about America is America wants to take good care of his people now, and there's nothing wrong in that. I don't, honestly speaking, I don't see anything wrong in that. If I decide that I want to concentrate on my people, take care of my people, and somebody who is feeling that I should carry him or her along, or carry him or carry his own children along, and I feel that I can't do that, I don't think there's anything wrong about that.
I want to ask a question actually. We all know what is happening currently, especially in Africa. China is making inroads into many places in Africa. Russia too are gradually, so there's this kind of power play. Both, not just even military, not just even finance, even with tech. They are doing the same thing. Penetrating into the African bodies, because I think they are looking for highlights. There's this kind of silent, egotistical war. Now, with US withdrawing its hand, don't you think that it's going to give people like China and many of those countries they should send it to more cordiality with all those other countries, reducing the power of the United States as it used to be before, where the even some Nigerian politicians, if they have issues with their fellow politicians or fellow parties, or they will even report to the United States. Don't you think it's going to reduce a bit of their influences in Africa?
The area of penetrating into other countries for investment, for a lot of bilateral arrangements, agreements, so to speak. The one you mentioned is the one that is very pronounced. There are areas that Nigeria as a government are penetrating to other African countries too, investing in other countries and engaging them in bilateral agreement, which makes Nigeria to be a kind of a super country to those countries. So it's everywhere. But that now that America is shifting ground, then other countries will likely come in. There's nothing wrong. But the truth about it now is this: for any country that wants to go into another country, either for investment, for advancement in technology, for bilateral agreements, or for whatever, every country should know what they want. And not just what they want, they should know what is good for them. Take for instance, when a country like China goes to Namibia, invest in their airport, invest in their rail project, and the country was unable to fulfill those bilateral agreements, and China has to come in, take over those projects, take over those facilities and infrastructure, and use it, start running them, excuse me, to recover their investment. That is a slap on such a government and on such a country. China is investing in Nigeria as well. All the rail projects you see going on in Nigeria,
a bulk of it.
Yes,
China.
There are projects that China has put money down. Even the road that they are tarring, that our government, they are doing. If you go to Lagos from here, by the time you get to Ore, you will see Kukuk 4, Sukuk 3 loan. They are loan bilateral agreement for road constructions. But the most important thing is that there's nothing wrong that any country comes with their money and they want to invest in a particular area. Even in agriculture, when you are traveling to Lagos, you will see those rubber farms, the rubber tree farms. They are investment from other countries. There's nothing wrong about that. Ondo State also have some places when you are going to Lagos that we would invested in. We would is not a Nigerian company. It's owned by a foreign country, and they came to Ondo State to invest. There's nothing wrong there. But what is very, very crucial about partnering, investment, divestment, bilateral agreement is that you, yourself, that they are bringing the money to come and meet, you should know what you want. And you should know what you must achieve. Know very well that you have to return that investment.
Nothing comes for free.
No, it's not free. That is the truth. Let's rewind the time. Let's go back to 1976 or 78. In the days of Ajaokuta Steel Complex. It was the Russians that invested in the project. Up to today, the place is not running as supposed to. That is a factory that can feed minimum of about 3 or 4 states if it's running in full capacity. The money that it can get, because that factory, that place has so much. It has so much. But because either like a dialectical attitude or inability to garner enough political will, things are just done anyhow. So if you now want any country to come and invest in such a place, the first thing is that there are things you will lose. And there are few things you will gain. But it depends on how you want to play the card. How do you want to play? Are they going to take your raw materials away? Some days ago, Japan offered money to buy the biggest iron plant in America before Biden administration rolled up. And Biden looked at it, both left and right. He said, no, it will not speak well that Japan will bring his own company, Nippon, to come and be running the American iron plant in America. What will that signify? Is it that they are not competent? Is it that they don't? So they have to think twice. And they said no. They did not agree for that kind of investment. That is what I'm pointing at. Whatever investment any country wants to bring to another country, there's nothing wrong about it. It's an opportunity for the economy to boom. It's an opportunity for infrastructural development, but it depends on how you look at it and what do you want to gain and what your people will gain and the future of the country about it. So there's nothing wrong about all this kind of investment. What is important is every government and people that are saddled with responsibility of running governance, they need to sit up. And we have a lot of things that if you bring the old giant of the world to come and invest in Nigeria, their money is not even enough to take care of it. Nigeria has more than 140 something
Natural
oil
resource.
field, and we have more than 1,200 oil well. And as we are sitting down here talking, if I don't know any other one, I know there is an oil well in Taraba that nobody has bring
One
a
thing
barrel of crude from the place, and it's ready for investment.
Wow.
Yeah, and there are many like that, and there are many things. The bitumen in Ondo State is there.
Even charcoal, many of those things.
You can imagine.
It makes me ask questions that why is it that, especially a country like Nigeria, why do we like to sometimes depend much on foreign aids or foreign investments? Can't it ever come to a point where we even build local investment or local aids from within ourselves?
Investment comes in different forms. It's not only about another country bringing their money. It could be in form of technology. It could be in form of infrastructure. You see, in every country, there are certain areas that country is known for. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
Nigerians, we are known for where we are good, and we are also known that we are ready to learn, and we are also known that God has bestowed so much resources on us. Just like I said, if America, Russia, China, they want to bring all that they have, their money cannot take care of all the resources that is available in Nigeria. No. If you want to bring down all the mountains in Akoko, that is one kind of investment which can be turned into asphalt, turned into construction, turned into road, turned into tiles, and many other things. If you want to talk about the bitumen in Ondo State, that is another one. If you want to talk about the oil wells that are found in many places in Nigeria, that is another one. Yeah. If you now want to talk of service delivery, the rail project, the airport, the seaport, there are lots.
Too
many. So investments are in different forms. There is nothing wrong in any form of investment. And one thing that is also important, in Africa now, Africans should also look at how they can synergize. What do I mean? If Africans have the African Development Bank, and they have many other kind of areas where they pull resources together, what is it that is hindering African countries from attaining the level of development that they're supposed to have attained by now? It is because lack of political will or sheer unnecessary partisanship. Unnecessary. Somebody wants this thing here and we don't want it there. Let's take it to that place. No, they will not take it there. Let's bring it here. All those kind of things will not allow growth. And just like somebody was discussing one day, he said, equality and equity. Which one is the best?
Equality and equity.
Yeah. Which one is the best? And which one has better advantage over the other? That kind of two words is giving us problem in Nigeria.
Equality
and equity.
That's a topic on its own.
It's giving us problem in Nigeria.
Many of the time, it depends on context, actually.
Yes.
The
context matters.
Context matters a lot. If we're talking equality, if we're talking equity in the country, because to a very large extent, wow, that's
something
deep.
to research on.
That's very deep.
So those are kind of the problem we are facing in Nigeria.
Yes, so it's talking about investment and finances.
Yeah.
Do you think that countries across the world or World Bank or IMF can trust Africans to like can they trust Africans with concessional financing?
Like loans with longer periods of return, lower rates, and all that.
They are concerned. Those organizations don't have problem with concerns. The document is their concern. The agreement is their concern. As soon as you pen on it that you agree, nothing more. Whatever you pen on is what is going to be worked on. Far back in 1988 or 89, when IMF came, and
under Babangida,
and Babangida regime was considering whether we should go for it. It allowed us to debate it. We took the debate from one place to another, from one place to another, from one place to another, and at the end, the whole Nigerian people agreed that Babangida, don't let me use the word agreed, the whole Nigerian people informed and come together to tell Babangida administration that they should not take that loan. But two persons advised Babangida regime to take the IMF.
Who are those?
And Babangida took it. And we started crawling
Ever since
today. Ever since. Where I'm going is this. What our government penned down was that we will devalue our naira. We will remove educational benefits. We will remove.
There was a lot of free education at that period.
We will remove them. We will remove the subsidy. We will increase the price of petrol, and many other things. Those are the part of the nitty-gritty of the document. And as soon as our government signed on it, we started crawling. And we are still battling with those demons today. Subsidy, education. And these are things that the quantum of their level, the quantum of their roles and contribution to development of a nation is so great. But those are the things they tell you to remove. And as soon as you pen down
and say you are removing them, agreement is an agreement.
Agreement is an agreement. So those bodies doesn't have problem about agreement. However, we failed as a nation to pay that money back during the oil windfall, the Gulf oil windfall. That was the opportunity God that brought us together as a country gave to us to be able to use and took care of that IMF loan. We failed to pay the money, and we are still crawling today.
But now, looking at it, you talked about something which I think I'm kind of scared of, because let me bring it to perspective majorly. You talked about political will. You talked about the fact that Africans' partisanship is a big problem. Now, when you're talking about the Babangida issue, you talked about the fact that those countries are not scared of giving us financing.
Those bodies.
But the kind of agreements will make actually. Now, let's look at some statistics currently in Africa.
All right.
Some of the countries with the best resources are either having political instability or they are at war with each other. DRC Congo, who has one of the highest deposits of gold and lithium in Africa, is currently at war with the M23 rebels. It's a very ugly sight. Nigeria, we all know how Nigeria's case is. Ghana just currently changed their government. Niger Republic is still looking for a way towards transition out of military rule. Many African countries are experiencing, whereas these countries have extreme deposits of natural resources. Now, you talked about the IMF loans, which you said to a very large extent crippled the Nigerian economy. And one of the vital things you said there was the Nigerian society informed the government of the day that they don't want this. Now, the government of the day received the advice of, like you stated,
just two
persons, and took the loan. ever since that year, the Nigerian government has taken multiple loans, not just from the IMF only. From the Buhari tenure alone, we know how many loans we collected from China. In the Tinubu era that we are currently, we are still collecting loans, and many Nigerians are even complaining of the fact that the loans is getting extreme. Now, my fear is it that even international organizations are very involved in the woes, in the problems that the African society is experiencing? But before we answer that question, let's go on a short break. Let's take Gold Start. Yeah.
Let's take Gold Start. Very important.
Welcome back. I hope you're enjoying Gold Start. I hope you're enjoying that very wonderful rendition and ideas given based on the businesses you can involve yourself in during this period. Like I said, that 50K, 25K, 30K, you want to spend this Valentine to do something very irrational, or maybe rational, a gesture of love. Spend it on business, actually. Invest. Don't worry, the next few years you'll be very happy that you actually took this step, and you'll even be in a better place with a better partner to enjoy your very, very beautiful life. But then let's focus again on our discussions for today. Before we went on a short break, Mr. Bimbo, I was talking about the fact that international bodies being involved in Africa's woes. And one of the things while we are on the short break, I remember vividly well that early this year, even the Chief of Defense Staff in Nigeria talked about the fact that foreign bodies are even a part of the contributors to the terrorism issues we are having in Africa, especially in Nigeria and the Boko Haram terrorists. So now, to a very large extent, do you think these international bodies are very involved a bit with some of the economic woes that Africa is experiencing?
There is a proverb in Yoruba that says that Ti iku ile o ba pani, iku ode o to. If the enemy in the house did not instigate the cause of the death, the death that is coming from outside will not conquer you. This is a country that God in his wisdom, whether we desire it or we don't, he brought us together. 3 different regions brought us together. When we were being brought together, we did not see anything wrong in it. And immediately we were brought together, the prosperity started coming. And I think that is what God has done for us. Unfortunately, we find it very hard to manage that success. It becomes very, very difficult for us to manage the success. And some things happened during the early years of our prosperity. The world, they started seeing us as a big threat. The oil is there. Before the oil, we have the agricultural prosperity. We have the weather prosperity. We have the unity of the people, even though they have their internal rancors.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the people that were at the helms of leadership, they were not very, very suspicious enough. I decided to use the word suspicious. They were not very suspicious enough to understand that the outside world there, they are not in love with Nigeria. They are actually looking for what they will get. And when we now started inviting them to come in, when they were coming, they brought the technology, which in fairness, we don't have that.
Yeah.
They brought the technology. But while they brought the technology, they started introducing some other things. Other things that they introduced, I will refer to them as the negativity of knowledge. There is knowledge. Knowledge has its positive, it has its negative. The negativity of knowledge, the negativity of education, they brought it along So they started trailing our minds into those things. And that is what led to where we are today. There is nothing you will decide to do as a leader in Nigeria that there will not be somebody in Nigeria somewhere that is going to negate that thing.
Okay.
Nigerians are very, very wise, very, very proactive, pragmatic, to the point that they will see anything good in anything bad. They will see anything bad in anything good. We are so wise to that level. Our intuition is very, very different, very sharp, smart. Even to the point that it do make the outside world to be afraid anywhere we showed up. So, because of what we are going through presently, the insecurity, if you check through, you will find Nigerians there. The kidnapping, you will find Nigerians there. The issue of bunkery, you will find Nigerians there. The issue of what more are we going to see? Staff of banks defrauding the bank is working for.
I even saw that news recently. That one was it was a scary matter. And this is not the first time it's happened.
No,
last year there was a particular manager of a very popular bank who monies that were sent to the bank that was supposed to be reversed. He did not reverse them. He was compiling them gradually, and over 40 billion was stolen by himself in partnership with his wife.
I supposed reversal.
Supposed reversal.
You can imagine the level of the knowledge that that person have, but he negated it. Negated that knowledge. They taught us to do it. Some people came and taught us to. We don't know how to do that at the beginning.
And we're having a time where there's more AI and technologies than
now that your AI will come, because presently AI itself, some people are in some advanced countries, they are even afraid of the AI as we are talking.
They are looking for regulations.
They are looking for how to regulate it, because that one is another issue.
Of course.
Really? The thing that is going on in the country now, if we Nigerians can sit down and our leaders can give us that picture that they are sincere now and that they are ready now, even though we are seeing some few things that makes it look like our leaders are ready. Huh? If we too as citizens can sit up, our country will be better. Unfortunately, somebody like Donald Trump, who choose to get up on his feet and say no, it will not be a right thing for us to allow this mess to be going on. But some people in America are saying no. They are saying the law is from 19 what or 18th what that they said the law is there. Is that what is important, or is that law favorable to America?
The current situation.
To the current situation. Is it not the same law that somebody use and come and sit down in your country and perpetrate evil to the point of causing loss of life of many? What are you doing with a law that was brought from Adam, but is not doing you good in the time of Jesus Christ? What is wrong in changing such a law?
Yeah, at least change is the most constant thing in life.
But you can see, because they know that when they change that law, some people will not have such opportunity anymore. Because such people, they don't even have identity with their own country where they are coming from. Take note of that. Yoruba people say, Omo abule, Omo atokode, to fe ba igboro je. That is what some people are. Yes, they are home. Well, they say it's not good. But they forgot that if you have a calabash and you call it a dustbin, they will use it as a dustbin for you.
Of course.
Onigba ló ń pe igbá ní orúkọ tó And you have called it any useless name, they will use it in a useless
at
way.
least this way you want it to be addressed. To
So our problem, the solution to it, should start from us inside. We talk about insecurity. Our good governor, may God grant him a soul, good rest.
Amen.
He gave us Amotekun in the southwest. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Is Amotekun functional like that? Like
It's not as
then?
functional as it used to be.
Are they empowered like when they started? What is the reason? And on a yearly basis, the state has security votes. Don't they have security votes?
Every state in the country has.
Every state have security vote. Monthly security vote.
Duly
monthly.
paid for by the federal government.
There is no law that scrutinizes security vote. There is no section of the law that says security vote, come and give account of how you spend it. There's no law in this country that says
That means the federal government is doing their part to a very large extent.
Aha! And you are not saying, and even as the government, I'm talking about this present government, is doing what they are doing, some people are still saying everything is expensive. Everything is expensive. Unfortunately, this government has done something, giving us the true picture of where we are. We may not like it. We may not like this truth. Truth, they said, is bitter.
Very bitter.
They said, Otito, Okoro. This government has shown us the level we are. We have crude oil. We don't have refinery. In the last more than 30 years, mind you, that refinery that we did not have, some people are inside it working, collecting salary.
Collecting salaries,
concrete.
collecting money for repairs.
Yes, in the last 30 years.
And they have been repairing and it's not still
And that
producing
thing
up
was
to
not
capacity.
working. Nobody talks about that. But somebody now came and said, okay, we must have refinery. They put money on ground, just like they have been putting money on ground. Now the refinery starts working. And when it starts working, some people did not believe
That was working.
that it was working. It was after some time they now saw that, it's like it's working. They are now talking last week that thank God for Dangote refinery that is forcing the price of the product from the Nigerian refinery to go down. If that is not working, will Dangote refinery have something to force the price down?
No.
They now agree it's working. We too, we have a role to play. What about people that are custodians of the land? And you are giving the land, you are giving strangers every free hand to come in, do whatever they like. That one has to be looked into, irrespective of who that person is.
Definitely.
So, if we that are inside, if we take good care of our country, there is no kind of bilateral agreement that any country will bring anywhere that this our head that is sharper than that of anybody from any country. Take note, I said it and I keep saying it. They kill behind Nigeria in using brain anywhere in the world. We may not have the technology now,
But we have the brains.
but we have the brain if we want to do that. We have a very good and sound brain,
Human resource.
and
Very
we have
blessed
human
country.
resources. But let us do what is expected of us as good citizens of this country. Then anyone that is coming from outside will not come and just be doing whatever they like. No, definitely no. So the onus is on us, the owner of the country. It is our country. Nobody brought us here.
In the first place.
No, we did not collect green card to become Nigeria. No, Rara, it's not so. We are the Nigerians here, and none of us beg to become a Nigerian. Take note. It is not, you did not beg to be a Nigerian as you are. And all of us, we did not beg for it. We did not queue to be a Nigerian. No, it is a gift from God that He bestowed on us. And all these resources that are there, they are meant for our development. When are we going to start making use of them? When? How long are we going to use a law to hinder us from enjoying what God has given to us. Because there is a law that says a particular resources is exclusive list of the federal government. So the state cannot touch it. Why can't we change that law?
To a point that every state touches.
So that let every state bring all they have and invest it in that resources, so that it will be better for them and for the indigents and for the everybody in the state, both the indigents and the visitors, and it will be better for them.
But I don't think the federal government is looking at balance. You know, there are some states that don't have as much as some states. If we were to look at it that way, then South should be the richest.
That is where equality and equity is failing Nigeria. You know quite well that in this region we are not good academically. There's no doubt about that. There's a particular region in Nigeria that is not good academically. Nobody can drag that from them. It's a God gift. And there's a particular region that they are good academically. Nobody can drag it from them. It's a gift from God. You now say that because federal government has just opened a ministry, then they want to employ 100 staff. You must employ equal number from equal region. And that ministry will fail because you are working on
equality and equity,
and that thing will fail because by the time you bring that equal number from the region that doesn't have competency, the work will not be well done.
The exact reason why Donald Trump stopped the activities of DEI in the United States.
And now that he has stopped that, some people are clamoring
for inclusiveness.
Seriously, that he should not stop it. But the truth about it is that, is it not better to give job to people who are competent? Not because there is 10 space for employment, you must give 5 to black, give 5 to white. Or 5, the blacks must have so kind of a grant. And that will now make people to be telling lies. They will be saying they are this when they are not that.
Just to fit into
that benefit. Why? All those things, they are problem of equity and equality. That is the problem that one of the major problems that Nigeria faces at the onset. We're just using style to make way out of that as it is now. A government will come to power and it will say, since it is the turn of my region, this position must come to my region. This position must.
I think that positional thing is a big problem to my region.
This one, and when they now do all those things, the other region will say, we are now being
marginalized.
We are being marginalized. And when it is the turn of the other region, they will do the same thing. The same thing that they were crying about that time. They will repeat it.
They will say it's a payback time.
And all right now. Abi?
Well, yes. I want to even ask a question because if we keep going round, we'll keep picking up the problems. Because now from what you're saying, definitely grabbing more loans from the outside shouldn't even be things we should be looking at. Then how do we come to a synergy between ourselves to bring this development?
I will tell you one truth. Taking loan is not a problem. No matter the figure, that is not the problem. The problem is, what are the conditions? What are the conditions attached to these loans? That is the problem. Problem number 2, what are these loans directed to solve? What problem are these loans directed to solve or directed at? Point number 3, the sincerity of the people that are saddled with the duty of solving that problem. You are here according to time this morning and you have your job schedules and job specifications. And you started working on it. You bring up your to-do list this morning and you started expediting actions on them. I believe so.
Yes.
Let's now say the person who's supposed to handle the camera refused to do his own job. how will it have been a success?
Not at all. It's individual.
And when that
contribution.
person refuses to do his work, nothing happens as in the area of punitive measures.
Yes.
And unfortunately, somebody eventually, not just because he did not do his job, he took the property of the government. He took government money, MENA, and many others. You can imagine for somebody to be calling that Nigerians should bring MENA back. You can see what I've been talking
The
about.
intellectual.
Yeah, that person has it. He has a role he's playing in a particular area.
Yeah, permit me to take you back for a little bit. We talked about resources we have in Nigeria that has not been worked on, which could help us to do away with all these foreign loans and all the rest of the things. I know about a certain place in Akwa Ibom State and Cross River State's boundary that has crude oil, and it's a water boundary that has crude oil. But for years, I am not talking about decades, like I'm not talking about 2 decades. This is a story that has been told to us by our grandparents, which didn't start today. It was when the Akwa Ibom State and Cross River State was still one state that was called South-South. That was not a Akwa Ibom and Cross River. So they've been fighting. And this fight is always brutal, like it comes like a seasonal fight, brutally, that even the government can't step in. But this is a place that has resources that the state, not just the state needs, but the country. What do you think can be done to situations like this? There are states in Nigeria that has gold, but not be mined because of one thing or the other. What do you think in situations like this? Because this is the time we need our resources the more. What do you think can be done by the government?
The first thing is political will.
Political will.
Political will. 2, sincerity of purpose. It's not only in Akwa Ibom.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Many places. I just told you about Taraba. Taraba and Bauchi, they fought about it. The case was even a kind of a funny case. Oil well was in Taraba. A member of House of Representatives for Bauchi is the one that was raising it at the floor of the house. Let us tap this oil. Let us make it available. Let us this. The man started running up and down, running up and down, running up and down. Eventually, our former president, Buhari, took it up and it was made available. Lo and behold, when it was made available, the well fell inside Taraba that was folding hands. Then
Just because the sheer boundaries.
crisis started. Serious one. And that crisis is one of the reasons why no investors have shown face.
Too bad.
Because we have
Because
this communal issue.
nobody
No
will
issue.
bring his expatriate
To come
or
down.
professionals or workers to come and sit down on top of a
Communal
keg of gunpowder, all in the name of crude oil. You can imagine. So, political will. If something is causing discord among people, bring people that have the historical fact, because there are something that is important in every land. Historical records.
Data.
That is the solution to many discords. When Yoruba people say tí ọmọdé bá kọ iyán alẹ́, àwọn àgbà máa ń fi ìtàn balẹ̀. That is, if a child becomes angry, the elders, they will tell him stories. And by the time he hears that story, he will know that he is
Not
nobody.
supposed to.
Yeah.
You understand? So many of these discords, they are fact that a lot of people just twist, they went somewhere, twist many things, just to distort historical facts. And eventually this trouble will start. But notwithstanding, that fact is there. History is just like a computer program that somebody is running it. Take, for instance, a bank software that is used to debit and credit customer,
Yeah.
right? That software is okay there.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. You cannot get to that software to change the
whole,
commands on it.
yeah.
But you can use it wrongly. So somebody that now defraud the bank, make use of the operational access
Yeah,
granted to him
yeah.
and did what he's not supposed to do. That thing he did that is not good is there. The computer will help him to keep it. That is one wonderful thing about computer. It will keep it for you.
Stores memory.
But it cannot make noise. That somebody has done something is bad here. The computer will not make noise. But any day you bring somebody who is intelligent enough and start checking, he will see that thing that was done, that time, the date, the day, the person. He will see everything there.
And they will address the
and they were, yeah. That is the same thing historical fact does. You may twist it, you may lump it, but that fact is always there. Because some of these historical facts, they are natural facts. Even in the language that people speak, the tongue that we use that comes out from our mouth, they are historical facts. So, majority of these things still fall back to lack of political will on the part of the people that are in government. And not only that, apart from lack of political will, their inability to see it as priority.
And priority itself is very important.
Yeah, because if they see this Nigeria as a country that has everything, everything, good, bad, ugly, we get that. We don't need to go and export anything, we have it. If they see this country that has everything and they choose to prioritize the good ones, what are we seeing? Many people will want to naturalize their citizenship to Nigeria. So it's all about people that are saddled with the responsibility of governance. They should do what it takes and take us to where we should be.
Do what it takes and take us to where we should be. I really appreciate that statement you made last, and sadly that will be the last thing we have to say for now on this particular topic and on this particular. I really appreciate your presence, Mr. Bimbo, for this very wonderful discussion, and I hope our viewers actually enjoyed this. But then it is time to progress to sports, which is my favorite part of the show, and maybe not. Is it? Sure. Yeah, thank you. Thank God you admitted to that. But then let's enjoy sports. When we're back from sports, we will say our goodbyes on Daybreak Africa. Thanks so much once again, Mr. Bimbo.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much. And now it's time for sports.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed sports as much as I did. Well, Glory didn't. Well, that's not the harsh truth, actually. I did, Glory didn't. You know, you have to come to a point where you have to be sincere with yourself. You don't enjoy sport. You enjoy the activity.
I'll bring you someone who enjoys sport. One of my friends.
She enjoys sport.
She.
Yes, she.
Ah, God. Tiara enjoys sport.
She enjoys sport. That's great, actually. It reminds me of my mother, who's actually a sports fan, actually. Diet sports fan. But then we've discussed a lot on Daybreak Africa today, and I'm very, very positive of the fact that this particular time, even though it seems a bit scary, Africans should learn that it's also a plus to us. It's high time we look inwards. It's high time we begin to look at our own resources. It's high time we redefine our system to ensure that we are fit enough for the times ahead. Like Bimbo will say, what's the usefulness of a law that was very useful during the time of Adam but is disastrous at the time of Jesus, which means that times and seasons change is very constant. So we need to change a lot of things about our system today to fit into the complexities of our realities. So we'll be looking more into deeper discussions like this on Daybreak Africa as time goes by. We'll be bringing more updates, but we'll see you tomorrow. My name still remains Ikhonede.
My name is Glory Emmanuel. Until tomorrow, stay informed. Bye.